Alright, so drawing no conclusions, just passing on some information, waiting for a possible discussion to open up in the comments down below. Okay, hope you enjoyed the little film. Peace and luck to everybody. So thank you to the Reader's Digest and whoever's got the copyright. I couldn't find who actually wrote the piece. Thank you anyway. This is not for profit, just for a bit of education and comedy critical reviews. You can, of course, if you want, pause it and read through it yourself if it comes out clear enough. But otherwise, just sit back and listen for 5.5 minutes as I read you some familiar tales. From, well, before I was born. Okay, there's the picture. And if you want to sit back and just listen, you can. This Saucer Earth. Did moonwalkers march across a studio floor? When astronaut Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon for the first time on July 21st, 1969, it represented one of the most inspiring achievements in man's history to millions of people throughout the world. But to a small organisation called the International Flat Earth Society, it was nothing more than a piece of cleverly stage-managed science fiction trickery. And Armstrong's historic words when stepping down from the Eagle module onto the dusty lunar surface 240,000 miles from Earth, "One small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind," was a phrase that could have only come from the pen of a scriptwriter. The evils of science. As for the pictures reputedly taken in space showing the Earth to be a rotating sphere, well, they were just too ludicrous for words. The sun, say the flat earthers, circuits the Earth instead of the moon revolving around the sun, a notion that most people take for granted. The society, whose membership is variously estimated but is believed to be fewer than 100, dismisses much of accepted modern thinking about the shape of the Earth as sheer nonsense, and is convinced that the entire human race is being subjected to the greatest hoax in history. From its headquarters at Lancaster, California, the Society wages a war of words throughout newsletters and pamphlets against the evils of science. The Society was founded around 1800 in Britain and America and, says its American president Charles Johnson, was descended from the Zetetic Society, which took its name from an ancient Greek philosophical school of skeptics. It survived under this name until 1956, when the new secretary William Shenton of Dover in Kent, England, changed it to the present title. The Society's belief is this: that the Earth is flat, with the land masses grouped around the central point of the North Pole. The Antarctic region is not the compact island mass it is commonly believed to be, but an impenetrable ice-cold girdle around the Earth. The flat earthers argue that trans-Antarctic expeditions have never happened. Explorers, misled by instrument faults, merely travelled an icy arc within the girdle. Mr. Shenton, who died in 1971, also argued about the nature of space itself. The Moon, he said, is a mere 32 miles in diameter against the official 2,160 miles, and only about 2,550 miles away from the Earth. The Sun, slightly larger than the Moon, is really only 3,240 miles from the Earth and not 93 million miles, as people had been led to believe. Can you imagine what sort of summers we would have if the Sun were as far away as scientists believe? He scoffed. And as for stars, they were very small bodies, a few thousand miles apart. But if the Earth is flat, as the society maintains, the tricky question remains as to what lies on the other side. Mr. Shenton said that water is on the other side, but as to what lay beneath the waters, he confessed himself perplexed. The society claims biblical support for its beliefs, pointing out that Moses, author of the first 5 books of the Old Testament, wrote of the heaven above and the earth beneath and the water under the earth. Mr. Shenton first became convinced of the immobility and flatness of the earth in 1918 at the end of the First World War. He had the idea of setting up an international haulage firm using balloons, and it occurred to him that if the earth were revolving, as he had been told, all he needed to do was send up a balloon and, barring winds, it would stay still until the destination reached the balloon. But this could happen only if the earth really was spinning, a belief which Mr. Shenton could not bring himself to share. Since the earth was in fact stationary, he reasoned, the launching site would stay just where it was underneath the balloon. So that of course was the piece written largely about William Shenton and his ideas of the flat earth. So while coming to find William Shenton, I came across this video, clicked upon it, found this interview which we're going to listen to right now.
And here's David talking to you, Daniel Shenton.
I see the world as being flat. It's a disk. There are changes in the surface, but generally it's a flat disk.
And what about the planets, the sun, the moon?
I'm not sure about them. It seems to me from the evidence that I've seen that they're probably spheres, but it's definitely not proven, I think.
And the Earth, being a disk, presents certain problems with gravity, but you have a solution to that too?
Yeah, the effects of gravity, I feel, could be simulated, or what people think of as a sort of mainstream idea of gravity would be simulated by simply the disk of the Earth moving upward, it is accelerating upward at 9.8 meters per second. It would have the same effects as what people traditionally think of as gravity.
And what about all of the photographs? The Flat Earth Society seemed to die in the sort of the space age when people got out of Earth's orbit and sent back pretty damning evidence that actually the Earth is a sphere.
As far as the evidence of the space age, I would say that anything like that could have been easily faked. Especially the technology we have today, you can simulate alien worlds, ghosts, demons, massive battles of orcs, and anything else you want. I don't think that proves much of anything.
But why would people do it? Why would people go to the effort of this giant, I presume you think it's a giant global conspiracy to cover up the fact the Earth is flat? Why would they do that?
There probably are financial motives behind it. And I don't think the conspiracy needs to be as, global as you would think. If you get pockets of conspiracy, most people aren't going to look into it very much. They're not going to investigate it, and they'll just accept these things at face value, that the Earth is a sphere. Not everyone needs to actually be part of it for this to propagate pretty quickly.
Now, a lot of our listeners might think this is just genuine nuts, sort of anti-science babble, but actually there's a serious scientific strand to this, isn't there? Because you think it's all about not trusting what you see and testing.
Yeah, before the Flat Earth Society was the Flat Earth Society, it was called the Universal Zetetic Society in the 1800s. It was a group of people that wouldn't accept mainstream science because they didn't feel that all these things had necessarily been proved. Their idea was that they needed to go out and investigate these things for themselves and get really solid evidence. And about a lot of issues, like the shape of the Earth, people don't do that. They just accept what most people believe as fact, even though they haven't looked into it themselves. I think it's really important that people get out and investigate these things and prove it to themselves instead of just accepting it because it's the mainstream view.
And the Old Testament, if the Earth's flat, what stops people falling off?
Nothing, I suppose. There's a barrier around the edge, but ultimately I think if you could get past that, you would fall off.
And you're serious about this, aren't you? This isn't a clever metaphor or a marketing ploy for something else. This is what you truly believe. It
is. If it's a marketing ploy for something, then I'm not aware of it, and I'm certainly not getting paid for it. So.
Okay, so that was Daniel Shenton. It says president of the Flat Earth Society. I have subscribed to Concord 39. I have no idea what else is on their channel just yet, but I will go back through. Now, although I don't agree with everything Daniel says, I have thumbed this up. It is interesting. And of course, the most interesting part is this one. Is that in focus? There you go, 22nd of May 2010. Okay, so I'm not sure where the interviewer might be that Andrew Johnson, possibly. I'm not sure, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Maybe we can find Daniel and find out what's going on, whether he knows anything about what's happening at the minute, whether he can help us, whether he's open for discussion. I'm not sure I'm the person for this, but I will try. I'm not on Facebook, maybe he is, and if you're on, you can have a quick look. But yeah, peace and luck. Thank you, Daniel Shenton. Thank you, Concord 39. Okay, so I was looking for an image of William Shenton, and I come up with this guy, and it says Samuel Shenton. Now, for definite, in my book, it says William. William Shenton of Dover in Kent, England. If this image, if you tap on this, we go to the Atlantean conspiracy page, where again they call him Samuel. I'm not sure whether it's important that I get the name right. This one here. Charles Johnson. That was in 1978. For Robert J. Shadewald. Yeah, there's loads more to be looking into. Shadewald, Plain Truth. Plenty to be looking into. For William Shenton, found Daniel Shenton, Samuel Shenton, and of course this fella, and of course that fella, and of course that fella, and of course that fella. Anyway, so much to be looking into. Make sure you do look into it, okay? That lady, does anyone know her? Lydia Fairy Dust or something? Sweating a bit, Mr. President. I do not believe it. What are you doing there, sir? No one is going to believe it. Well, of course you're going to believe it. You see it now. And look. Anyone been watching? Creepy coincidences, eh? I don't know. Desperately seeking Shenton.